Lynda Tran is a former communications director for Governor Tim Kaine and a founding partner of 270 Strategies. Bree Payton is a staff writer for The Federalist. Ladies, welcome. We've got a busy day. Bree, let's start with you. Senator Kellyanne, I just mentioned, she put out sort of a readout on what took place at this meeting, and among the things that she said took place at this meeting was that, pardon me, got to put on my glasses here, that Judge Gorsuch made it very clear in all of his discussions with senators, including Senator Blumenthal, that he could not comment on any specific cases and that judicial ethics prevent him from commenting on political matters. End of story. That she made it clear that what the judge was talking about was not specific to the president, but in general.
Right, yeah, I think that that's pretty clear, given that she was in the meeting, and she is providing context that we didn't get from Senator Blumenthal. You know, but I also think in general, it's healthy for the three branches of government to have kind of an antagonistic relationship with one another. I think when the three branches of government work in lockstep with one another, our republic is in trouble. So I think the fact that, you know, the president is pushing back on a judge's decision, and then the fact that, that Gorsuch is pushing back and saying, you know, any attack on the judicial branch is not healthy and not good. I think that this kind of back and forth is really a healthy thing in general for our government. And I was really frustrated, honestly, watching the briefing with the media. They don't really seem to understand that concept, and they think that this kind of fighting or whatever back and forth is some sort of bad thing, when in reality, this is the vital sign that our government is working as it should and that it's working properly.
Lynda, a vital sign that our government is working exactly as it should by questioning one another?
Well, I think that there's a big difference between questioning somebody's judgment and questioning their motives. And I think that part of the rancor around all of this back and forth about the tweets coming from President Trump and Judge Gorsuch's response behind closed doors is about that questioning of the motives. I think that that's a pretty dangerous kind of dynamic. Also, there are some conflicts that are happening here. You know, you've heard Kelly Ayotte's readout, but then clearly, you know, Richard Blumenthal had a different take on the events.
Well, he did a little freelancing,
meeting.
adding a key word there, and I'm wondering just how much this is about politics. You know, he's a Democrat. Democrats on the Hill have been trying to stall things for Republicans. The president hasn't been able to get a bunch of his cabinet nominees into position just yet, and that's stalling a lot of things, and that's part of the plan of the Democrats. Lynda, let me ask you to talk about that.
You could say that, and you could see that perspective 100%, but the other individual that reported out on his meeting with Judge Gorsuch was Ben Sasse, who's a Republican, who essentially said that the judge also made similar remarks there. Look, there's definitely some strategic considerations that are happening in all of these one-on-one conversations and also in what's playing out publicly. Judge Gorsuch, remember, he has to get to 60 votes in the Senate, and so it behooves him to show some sort of daylight between him and the Trump administration, because what he doesn't want to be cast as is a rubber stamp for Donald Trump.
Perhaps that is a good point, and one of the things that President Trump did today is inviting Republicans and Democrats to the White House for a lunch. You know, that kind of thing, that bipartisan stuff at the White House hasn't happened for quite some time, so perhaps good for him for doing that, to try to bring them all together. Lynda, let me go, Bree, let me go back to you and ask you about something that happened earlier today, and that is, you know, the whole kerfuffle about Ivanka Trump's clothing line. That was an issue that was addressed earlier this morning on Fox and Friends when Kellyanne Conway was on it, and she said, you know, hey, just go out and buy this stuff. I mean, I'm wearing a pair of her shoes right now, as a matter of fact, because I just happen to like them. It's not about politics. But this was something that Sean Spicer was forced to address in the White House briefing. Listen to this, and I want to get your reaction.
Kellyanne Conway did an interview, I believe it was with Fox News this morning, where she appeared to, from the confines of the Brady briefing room, promote the products of Ivanka Trump. Do you believe that she crossed an ethical line?
Kellyanne has been counseled, and that's all we're going to go with. She's been counseled on that subject, and that's it.
Bree, big issue or not?
Yeah, personally, I don't think that her one comment was that big of an issue. I think that if Kellyanne Conway continues to say comments like that and it becomes a pattern of behavior, I think that that would become an issue. But also, I think I'd like to point out that, you know, the fact that she did make this comment, that the press made a big deal out of it, and then the White House decided to counsel her on the matter, I think, again, is kind of a healthy symbiotic relationship that should be going on between the press and public officials, right? Public officials do something a little unseemly, press pushes back, government corrects itself. So in general,
Lynda,
I
let me
think
give you the last word, please.
Yeah, look, I think it's a huge deal. There's a reason why these ethics rules are in place and that government officials cannot, quote unquote, endorse another a company or any sort of a product. And what Kellyanne said was, I'm going to give her a free commercial here. Go out and buy this stuff.
I was sitting there listening to it as it was taking place. It didn't occur to me that it was a commercial, but rather she was just trying to be supportive of a woman and a company that she felt had been politically attacked for political reasons, just because folks perhaps don't like her dad's policies.
Well, those were her words, not my words.
Yeah, well, ladies, we're going to have to leave it there. Lynda Tran and Bree Payton, thank you so much for joining us. Sure,
Thank you.
Well, President Trump lashing out at Senator John McCain, attacked